Hello everyone and welcome to the Green Man channel. Hope you're doing good and well. So it's time for the first of two album reviews this Sunday, and the first album I'm talking about is from a symphonic metal band called Shatterheart. This is their debut full-length release named Infernal Symphony, and it came out on the 6th of February via Artgates Records, and the album is 10 tracks and 51 minutes in length. So yes, whilst I describe this as symphonic metal, it's got very strong gothic overtones. Think of the sound of bands like Theatre of Tragedy and early era Serenia, also maybe Lacuna Coil. And I think that this band have a little bit of just that flavour about them, as well as having, I'd say, principally a symphonic metal style about them. What really impressed me about this album, well, first of all, it's just a debut full length, and yet it delivers to me on solid production, great songwriting, full of twists and turns and developments that suit the overall flow and style of the record. I also think you have a strong vocal performance from singer, and apologies for butchering any pronunciation here, Alika Kostopoulou, who I think her vocal performance really anchors the album and provides some of the more memorable, catchier parts of the record. Just as an album coming out of the gates, I mean, it's got a lot of flair about it. It's got great presence. And I really enjoyed just so many different parts. I mean, I'm on the verge of calling this album a masterpiece, particularly of this genre. And I can't think of too many debut albums from the symphonic metal genre as good as this one. And I'm a big fan of symphonic metal, and I'm about to be doing a debut album tier list, so I'm thinking now of featuring this on that tier list, and don't be surprised if that figure's pretty high up on that tier list. So yeah, impressed, exciting, as a debut record, with so many of the core elements here finding their footing very quickly. I'm just excited about maybe what this band also have to offer us in the future. So let's go into some of the songs. Just to say, I don't usually go into every single song in great detail. I sort of go through my highlights and cap them off at the end with what my final thoughts of the record are. So let's start off with opener Afterlife, which I think is a really good opener with some thrashy guitar riffs and some good highs on display from vocalist Alika Kostopoulou here. Night Child had a sort of 80s heavy metal style about it, which I really liked. They still made it fit in with their sound, I think, and it was a standout from the record that really caught my attention on those early repeat listens. I loved the advanced single Betrayal here, perhaps my favourite of the two advanced singles, which I think were Shatterheart and Betrayal. And this song has a really strong, like Serenia-like vibe with a memorable keyboard moments from Daniel Lingsa Larsson. And I would also describe this as, simply a gothic banger, really good, strong song, which for me kind of anchors the record a bit in the middle. Forever Will Last, I'm going to talk about next, which is a ballad on the record. It sort of has this soft blend of acoustic guitars and either what's a string, maybe some strings, or it's the keyboard, I'm not quite sure, but it has a really lovely build-up and it's got a sensitivity about it that delivers on the emotional side well too. I think you can get a lot of ballads in metal which can sometimes come off as cheesy, but this one kind of it's a sensitive, really well-performed ballad, I think, that, actually is placed well on the album as well towards the end. It's not sort of, for me, too early in the record, which would have broken the momentum of some of those earlier, more exciting tracks, like Night Child and Betrayal. But it comes towards the end, so it's sort of a bit of a winding down, but coming right before, for me, two fantastic tracks at the end as well. So I think it's a good placement of this song. I'm also going to talk about Ground Turns to Dust, the penultimate song on the record, which was just super catchy. And I also really love the way the chorus ties in with that guitar solo at the very end, sort of echoing the melody of the song. And wow, what a great song to come right before the 11-minute epic. And I want to preface this by saying that there have been a couple of albums in the quite recent past that I've criticised for not having that epic song, particularly in the genre of symphonic metal. And this is where I'm going to say that this album provides an epic song that is worthy of the rest of the record as well. And wow, I mean, this is fantastic. It's kind of bringing together a lot of the other elements of the other songs in the record well. It's providing the dynamics and twists and turns that earlier songs provide in its 11 minutes, and it doesn't fall off at any point. It stays, I think, true to the record, and it stamps its authority as well as being the album closer, as I think album closers should. They should stamp their authority and say, look, we started the album well, you know, and we're finishing the album on a high too. I always find, I think the first track and the last tracks are, to me, quite often the most important moments on the record, because you kind of got the primacy and recency thing always going on with listeners. So overall, I'll say, I think, like I say, this is an excellent debut record, really strong to come out of the gates with an album as good as this. I thought maybe some of the middle tracks or the later middle tracks didn't quite work as well for me and slightly broke the momentum, but, you know, as a whole, it's a pretty stunning album, particularly in this genre. Like I say, it's one of the better I've heard, certainly in very recent times. So I'm giving this one an 8.5 out of 10. I think if you love symphonic metal or you love gothic metal and you sleep on this, well, you might just regret that. So make sure you check out Shatterheart and Infernal Symphony, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Otherwise, from me, until the next review coming up very shortly on the channel, it is bye for now.